This is WFO Radio.
Well, hello, everyone. How's everybody doing out there? Joe Castello here, going WFO live once again. And we are just getting closer and closer to the holidays and want to check in and connect with a lot of the people who have been very helpful to WFO Radio over the years, and of course, very knowledgeable drag racing fans out there. So on this episode, John DiBartolomeo from Drag Racing Edge. He's a D1 Northeastern Division Hall of Famer. It's going to be great. We'll tell you about the latest episode of Drag Racing Edge magazine and some of the stuff going on with Johnny D coming up. I'll tease him about him being cold and me being warm. It's going to be great. If you're out there getting ready, well, we appreciate you sharing the show, starting a watch party. And if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, by all means, put a comment or a quote in the comment section and we'll get it on this show. I do want to tell you, before we bring on Johnny D, a couple of things that are happening this week. So I've been kicking around the idea. Reinhardt decided yesterday that our final show next week is going to be Tuesday. We'll bring on Reinhardt and it's going to be great. But tomorrow, approximately 4 p.m. Eastern time, I want everybody to know you're all invited to the WFO Radio holiday party. It's like a WFO Radio happy hour, but with way less structure. Way less structure. People will be coming and going, and even if it's just me and you guys, the WFO listeners out there, enjoying a little bit of time together, looking back at the year that was, being thankful and appreciative for all of these things, that's going to be good enough for me. But I did put out the call to some what I would consider WFO VIPs, and so we'll see who checks in on the holiday party. Also later on today, coming up 5 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Mountain, in the Hidden Horsepower Facebook group, we're going to be speaking with Keith Jones. We're going to be speaking with Lake Speed Jr. Going to be talking about everything Total Seal down there in the Hidden Horsepower Facebook group. If you have not yet requested access to the Hidden Horsepower Facebook group, do it. At Hartford, we're going to talk about his great season, top 5, and of course, Piston Rings. That will be coming up later on today, and it should be a whole lot of fun as we kind of look inside the world of Total Seal and how they're finding that hidden horsepower. Speaking of which, people who make it possible for me to connect with folks like John D, Total Seal, Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology. You'll find them inside many of the champion race cars out there. Got to get that ring seal. Did a edition for next year with Lynn Haddock. Lynn Haddock is a karting legend, Hall of Famer, one of the OGs of go-karting in America. And in fact, when Lake, who was my co-host, when Lake's dad won the 1978 World Karting Championship over a guy you might have heard of named Ayrton Senna, Lynn Haddock was his crew chief, tuner, engine builder, etc. And they went on and ended up winning the world championship. Pretty amazing. TotalSeal.com. That's an upcoming episode of Hidden Horsepower. Also, Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, the Dragster Adventure. Big thanks to Frank and Lana supporting WFO Radio for a long time. We want everybody to go out and drive a dragster. And then you will be the next Johnny D, right? You'll be giving your life to it because you love it so much. Samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. As soon as this episode is over, I will be posting the brand new and final of the season Factory Stock podcast. Aaron Stanfield, our guest, brings us inside the championship season. Also, Brian Massengill with some announcements about the category and Samtech. You're not going to want to miss it. I'm not going to tell you what it is, though. You got to download the episode, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, samtech.edu. And of course, Marvin Rodak, our good buddy, the hot sauces and the spice rubs and everything good. I had somebody, where is it? It's not here. The my Nitro Barrel coffee mug that I'm always drinking out of. I had listeners reach out to me hey, where'd you get that, man? And I got it at Rodak's. 817-924-6821. That's RodaxCoffeeandGrills.com. Plus Nitro Fish, always very helpful with our WFO Radio 10th anniversary t-shirts and all the great gear at NitroFishRacing.com. Bo and Randy Lynn, really look forward to seeing them back out at the racetrack real soon. And later on in the show, once we let go of Johnny D, I'll tell you how to get a WFO Radio face covering in our store. We still have Christmas gift ideas on there. I don't know if they're going to make it to whoever you want by Christmas, but go to WFOradio.com and check out the store. Going to be cool. You can get Snake's book there also. All right, without further ado, I see we got a bunch of people in the comments section already, but let's bring on our guest, the man, up there in Pennsylvania. He's a Hall of Famer. He's the editor of Drag Racing Edge magazine. I always love catching up with you, Johnny D, because we plan what we're going to talk about and then never talk about that and just find a new topic and have a great time. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm cold. I'm going to be plowed up in snow right now. So, but other than that, we're okay. We're good.
Are you excited about the thunder snow possibilities?
No. I'm excited if I knew I was going to be sitting by you next to your house there. That'd be exciting. But sitting up here in the snow, no, I'm not excited about it.
This is every interview we do, John. We always talk about this, and it's just my way of poking fun. But listen, hurricane coming. There's times when living in South Florida is not optimal, and Reinhardt always talks about Arizona and how you don't have to shovel heat, but it does get to be 120 degrees out there. You living in Pennsylvania, close to some racetracks. That's kind of the heart of the country, in my opinion, where most of the population is. I know you love PA. So don't knock it, but
I think I like Florida better, buddy.
All right. Before we get into it, let's see what people have to say. We got some people out there, like Randy is up there just saying what's up, and I love the live audience. Mitchell saying hello. Derek loves the Patreons, our VIP audience. Johnny on Patreon, they're doing good. Justin saying WFO, and Larry, we got a lot of people out there saying what's up. No structure for the holiday party is always fun. Yeah, no structure, less structure. Really cool. Look at this guy. After months of procrastinating, finally sent out envelopes for the WFO stickers, because we do send out stickers for free. And this guy saying what's up to Johnny D. All right, Johnny D, I want you to we're going to do look back on the season and your thoughts on some different issues. Obviously it was a crazy year, but the reason I want to have you on, you guys at Drag Racing Edge have been so kind to me and to WFO in particular, giving us an ad in the magazine and writing that great story about podcasting where you talked about all the drag racing podcasts. Last episode of the year coming out, Capco Boys on the cover. Tell us a little bit about the features and any news you want to tell us about the magazine. Let's dive in.
Well, we can talk about the features, there's no doubt, but I think one of the biggest news stories for us anyway, and things are going to be a little different. The issue you have in your hands right now is the last print issue for a little bit. I say we lost our funding. We were always funded, whether or not anybody knew it. We were funded by Lucas Oil, and they've been absolutely great to us. I have absolutely no complaints. Their support has been phenomenal. It was about a month ago when they just decided that they probably didn't want to be in the publishing business anymore. And so they kind of threw it back to us, and we're going to go all digital for right now. We've been making changes to our website, dragracingedge.com, and we're just going to continue on. We are still looking for marketing partners to go back to print because I think print is still valuable. I think racers still want to sit down with a piece of paper in their hands and sit in other places in their house with something to read. And I think I covered this, or I think you and I talked about this offline not too long ago, but we did a story on Jason Line that ran on our website last week. And it was a great story. It was about him back on his farm and with his cows and his goats, and it was a good story, but by the end of 2 days, it's not gone. It's still up on our website, dragracingedge.com, but it's kind of lost a little bit. Whereas I think when you print something in a magazine, it stays for a while. So that's our biggest news, but we're going to continue on. We're not going anywhere. We're making changes to our website daily. There'll be some big changes later on, but for right now, we're just things are moving along.
Excellent. Yeah, listen, you're not the only ones that are having to improvise, adapt, and will ultimately overcome. We know for many years you've been the editor of many different publications and have overcome many different challenges, and so I have no doubt that you will overcome this one, if you even want to call it overcome. It's just a matter of the circumstances of this season has caused everybody to rethink what they're doing. And, who knows on the other side, but I have no doubt you'll be back in print. In the meantime, dragracingedge.com. You'll find a lot of WFO stuff on there. You guys have been kind enough to post some of our bigger stories and shows and links to the WFO radio website, which I appreciate. And that's why we're doing video now. Same thing for me. I during the pandemic, we're trapped at home. What do people want? People want to see and connect and feel like a part of something. That's what our WFO universe is about. And even if it's a small, tight community, as opposed to some sort of mass exercise like the NFL, say, we love our listeners. We love our viewers. These are people who are like-minded and love sport of drag racing and want it to grow. And so I have no doubt the way you write these stories will continue, will keep you guys at the forefront. And your thought about the magazine, let me just say this, not just you guys, of course, because Wes over at Drag Illustrated and others, we are of the generation. And as much as I joke about you being older, we're the same in that pre-digital, our lives, like when I want to scribble down some notes for ideas, I use a pad and a pen. I don't go to my phone and everything, and then I'll transfer it. It's just the way the world we grew up in. There are magazines from 1985 sitting around here. It's like a trophy. It's like you could flip back. It's a document, and it's easy to reference that way. And I get very worried. I get worried when I hear anybody talk about going to all electronic anything like the national security, or because when it's just a file in a folder of 1,000 other files that you have to search and you can't see, the chances that you're going to go and find it are next to zero. Whereas that magazine, if you throw it in the race car shop, somebody comes in, they pick it up, they start flipping through, they see the story, they get a blast from the past. That experience cannot die. We cannot let it die, even if it goes on a little hiatus.
No, we can't. And like I said, I mean, this is a little hiatus for us. And, I've been around for a little bit in the publishing industry, I guess, and I've seen magazines come and go. And this one had nothing to do with making money or not making money, because we were doing good. I think just it was a change in what Lucas wanted to do. They just didn't want to be in the publishing business anymore. So, that's fine. We'll move on, and we've got some irons in the fire to do some things with other people and other things. So hopefully by the end of next year, you'll see Drag Racing Edge back being printed again.
Absolutely. And there's different ways to do it. But let's talk about this episode. And of course, since you're on, people have questions for you. And so you are obligated. I don't think I told you this, but you're obligated to answer questions. Sorry. Like, for instance, like you never know what it's going to be, right? Like Mark says, Mr. D, what was the best story or article, in your opinion, that you've personally broken? Like a story, like an article, like a big story, like a piece of news. That's a good, all of a sudden you're reflecting on your career here at the holidays, Johnny D. What do you think?
I think probably one of the nicest or the neatest things I worked on was when we did stories on trailers, trucks, trailers, licensing, things of that nature, tech stories for that. It's ironic, but like you're holding our present issue in your hands. And truthfully, by the time it comes to me as a printed issue, I've already read every story probably 3 and 4 times already. I don't think I want to see them anymore, so to speak. I want to move on to the next one. So it's tough to just pick out any one story. I mean, I've made my living, but I mean, I've done a lot of tech stories. Tech stories are probably what I really like to do. But I like doing personal feature stuff too. In this current issue, there's a story on a kid by the name of Patrick Bowen out of South Carolina. He's a great kid. I say he's a kid. I think he's 43 or whatever, but he was born with spina bifida, and he races a dragster. And he has been, and I met him a couple of years ago, and we just decided to do a story on him because the story just seems so cool. His father has to literally pick him up and put him in and out of the dragster. Just a great story. And he's been a great kid. I mean, since we've done the story, I mean, he texts me like at least once a week, and to the point where sometimes you think, man, another text from this kid, but he's just that kind of kid. He's just a great kid. And how do you not like people like that? It's just, those are cool stories that I like to tell. Visiting Jason Line last week at his house, seeing what he has as far as his goats and his cows. And that's cool stuff. And I feel fortunate. I feel lucky to be able to have done this stuff like that.
Absolutely. I like it. And yes, we talk about the diversity of our sport that just adds to it, like people with various health and medical challenges still able to compete. I remember, what was his name? Was it Wally Hack?
Yeah.
But he ran
the one arm.
The one arm. The one arm.
Shifted with a rope. Yeah. Shifted with a rope.
Shifted with a rope. Like how many sports? And for those that don't know, back in the day, 5-day days, man, this guy, I think it was the little Nova. Right. And this.
It was a red Nova.
How about that? See, that shows you. I'm old school bracket racing. But man, the one arm bandit. This guy was a terror out there, he had a limitation, and it didn't matter at all. I mean, he could get after you. Yeah. And that's what I love about our sport. So this is great. I can't wait to see it. I'll see you also have a tech feature on there about braking pressure, which is pretty important in a sport about accelerating, especially on the bracket side of things where you might have to tap the brakes to win a race. You got to have that brake pressure right.
It does. What got me started on that story is I was very fortunate to be able to drive one of the Cobra Jet cars that Kenny Mealy from ClassRacer.com has. And great car, obviously, but I wasn't comfortable with the way the brake pedal felt. And when you're driving in a class, stock eliminator, super stock 2, where driving the finish line is just equally as important as driving the starting line, brake pedal pressure means a lot, and so that's what got me started on that story. And it just fits. Brake pedal pressure is very important. The feel has to be right. This isn't just an accelerating or an acceleration sport. You also got to stop this thing at the finish line. And, we've seen too many other issues where guys have stepped on the brakes maybe a little too hard, and we've had incidents. And, there's always the argument that these classes, I remember a couple of years ago, one of the division directors said to me that we need to stop brake light racing. We need to stop breakout racing. We need to stop this hitting the brakes at the finish line. And the only thing I said to him, and the only comment I made to him was that you guys started this. Anytime you tell me I can't break out, you're telling me that I need to use that brake pedal.
Right.
So it's a matter of education and just making sure that your brakes are just as important as anything else.
And the talent and excitement of that style of racing, the ability to separate yourself from your competition, in my opinion, is all there at the top end. And, that's what separates. Like anybody now can cut a 00 light. So, how would you do they all do all the time. They all do all the time. Everybody's 00. They got practice trees. They're calling Allison. They're getting porta tree. They're practicing all the time, etc. So everybody's cutting a 00 light. Half the cars will go dead on right now. So, and me and Reinhardt talked about it yesterday, like all the moves, a spot drop, all the moves and maneuvers. Well, that's where the talent is. Imagine if you told basketball players you can't dunk anymore. I don't know if it would be as interesting to a lot of people. Other people might like it more. But if everyone was out there just letting go of the button and holding it wide open and either winning or losing, break out or not break out, I don't think it would be nearly as entertaining to folks like yourself and me who know what we're seeing. We just got to do a better job of explaining it.
We do. I mean, it's neat to sit at the starting line and watch these cars leave the starting line, wheels up, wheels down, whatever. But as far as when you get to a big bracket race or even watching super stock and stock, the action happens at the finish line. That's where the cool part of the story is told. And I welcome racetracks. I think it's Norwalk that has a set of grandstands at the finish line.
Yep.
I mean, it's cool to be able to sit down there and watch it.
Yeah, I remember, where was I? I remember you in particular. I've got a couple of that I've talked about over the years. I remember seeing Woodrow Brackett in the Bad News Travels Fast Vega Wagon, and at Palm Beach in like 1993, do some crazy stuff on the top end, like the left front wheels coming off the ground, and he wins the race. But I remember, I think it was at New England Dragway a couple of years ago, seeing you go down there and, whomp the throttle, rip it a few times, front end of your Camaro, like bouncing very obviously. Also, one of the reasons why I'm not the biggest fan of 8th Mile racing. I like it. I'll take it. I'll do it if that's all that's available, but I won't choose it because those movements are not as pronounced and visible as they are at the quarter mile. You stretch it out, you can see it a little bit better.
I think they are, though. I think it's more, I got a problem with 8th Mile racing. I like it for one reason. I like it because you get right down to business. You leave the starting line, you're driving the finish line immediately.
Yes.
The problem with 8th Mile racing is that you may as well dial your cars to 1,000th of a second because everybody's car is a killer.
Yes.
I mean, we see it in all these big bracket races. So, I mean, that's a problem. With a quarter mile race, you got a little more time and things aren't necessarily as tight as in 8th Mile, but 8th Mile racing down south is everything.
It's everything. Well, it's a real estate issue. It's a whole bunch of things. There's insurance, there's real estate, there's some people like it better because it just happens faster. Me, I want to spend time on the racetrack. I just waited an hour. I want to be on there for longer than not. But I get it. So back to the episode or the edition on the cover, Championship Domination, talking about the Capco team. What do you make about these guys in that now it's 3 out of the last 4? The first one where they lost to Brittany Force by a couple of points, Steve with a big crash at Dallas. Otherwise, it could have been 4 in a row. Definitely a historic run. You think about the others who have done things similar, and they're all icons and gods of our sport. But the way this Capco team is doing it, they're a family operation. This year, they experienced a horrific tragedy with what was going on with Dominic, and they missed a race even. They missed Pomona, and they were still able to win by almost 200 points. That's having them covered.
That's putting them mildly.
Yeah.
I think all the champions this year, they're all past repeat champions. Matt Hagan, I think this is his 3rd. Erica, this is her 4th, maybe?
Fourth.
Yeah. Right? Okay. I just this has been a weird year. And that's to put it mildly. I wrote it in my blog, which came out this morning on dragracingedge.com, which I write my blog once a week. Anybody who wants to get a hold of me can send me an email. It's johnd@dragracingedge.com, and I'll put you on the blog list. But anyway, I wrote it in my blog that I remember back to the old Dallas TV show where we had one season where they killed off one of the characters. And then the next year, the character was back. And they made it out that season before was one big dream. And I hope that when we wake up on January 1, we find out that 2020 was one big dream, because it's been a weird year. There's no doubt.
Yeah, and tough times don't last. Tough people do. And if nothing else, since we're promoting, stuff, and I read Johnny D's blog on a regular basis. I have yet to read this one though, John. I will get to it. Something about hating travel, I believe was the title or something. I hate to travel, so I can't wait. I got my new National Drag column coming out, and it's just about this year. Like, this year tested humanity across the globe, not just here, but across the globe. I remember when they canceled the Formula One race in Australia, it was kind of like, well, all right, like, what, regardless of what I think about anything, if they're canceling a Formula One race in Australia because of this, and everybody is like taking it super serious, I'm pretty proud of the way the sport and the teams and everybody rallied together. We got this season in at all, which to me is a miracle. And to be able to function, bracket racing is one thing. I supported bracket racing and local tracks being able to race because it's an outdoor sport. and solitary. You're in the race car by yourself. Many racers show up by themselves.
Yeah.
You got to have an outlet for your passion. But I got to say, I feel really great about the way the drag racing community handled this very challenging year. Like, I think we did well as could be expected.
I've said this before, but I think, short of the NHR races where we were all mandated masks, and a lot of that is optics, and that's my personal opinion. But regardless, I think anytime we go to a racetrack, and I've had this conversation with a couple of track owners, when you pull in the gate, you're in about as normal a field or normal an area than you were ever before you were outside. It just, we were back to normal, so to speak, if you want to call it that. You're still mandated to wear masks. You're still mandated social distancing, but people still shook hands. They still clapped. They still, hugged each other, so to speak. And I don't know of anyone, and I know obviously, and I know you do too, and I know a lot of people have. I'm sure that all your listeners do. We all know somebody who has suffered with the disease. There's no doubt. But short of getting into a discussion on that, it's just something that we had to get through, and I think drag racers got through it. They really did.
Yes, for the most part. And now, though, someone asking, is it Johnny D or John D for his blog? What is it?
It's John D. JOHND at dragracingedge.com.
Yeah, I call him Johnny just because it's like I default to my friends, like your name's John, I'm calling you Johnny. Hey, Johnny. Right. But,
it's funny because my son's name is Franklin and people will call him Frankie. Right. And he has always been, since he was a little kid, he will always correct the person and say, oh, my name's Franklin. and I always find that funny, but.
Yeah. Well,
listen, what do they say? What do they say? You can call me anything. Just don't call me late for paychecks and dinner.
Exactly. Me being Joe, of course. I got Joey C. Hey, Joey C. Like, what am I going to do? I'm not going to stop people. Hey, we got Mike Ruth out there. Mike Ruth saying, what's up? Checking in. Thank you very much.
How are you, Mike?
Got people saying, thanks, Joe and John. Thank you very much. Selena. Hey, Selena. How are you doing? I'm okay too, Joe. Yeah, I don't mind playing second fiddle to Johnny P here. Are you kidding me? That's my my whole goal is to, to expose the great personalities of drag racing out there. What else? You mentioned, the Mats. I think about Hagen and Smith, the cream rising to the top, multiple championships, both of them. I think about Erica, of course, Steve. But let's talk a little bit about Erica and what she accomplished this year. 4th championship now in pro stock. Like it or don't like it, or love her or don't love her, or whatever, Erica Enders is in the conversation of the greatest pro stock drivers ever. And it's just the accolades are stacking up. And when the chips are down and you need a driver to go 00 for the win, Erica's the person that you're probably going to want.
It's getting tougher and tougher to beat her. She can drive, and she's obviously got power with the elite behind her. So how do you beat her? I don't know. It's tough.
Would you say, we're losing Jagan, Jason, and Bo next year in pro stock. So that's going to hurt. Think of all the wins in the championships and also the fans and the personalities that they bring. Like Bo Butner, if we could have 10 more guys out there with the willingness and the desire to mix it up and get in there. And we're going to hey, let's bet $1,000 on reaction time in our final qualifying session. Like that kind of stuff. Like, come on, let's mix it up. If we had 10 more guys out there like Bo Butner, we would be great. Jason, the analytical engine guy with a dry sense of humor. Jag, the natural, the superstar, of course. Bo, those guys stepping off the stage. The time is right for them. But on the stage, you're going to have Kid Chaos. You got Aaron Stanfield. You got Mason McGahey. You got others that are Troy Coughlin Jr., who have done, I don't want to say nothing, because they've, Aaron Stanfield's Factory Stock Showdown champion, and they've had great success to this point. But now it's really time to see what they're capable of. And to me, that's almost as exciting, right? Like, I know Jeg and Jason and Bo, those guys are great. What are these kids going to do with their opportunity?
These kids are a problem to us, older people, I tell you. I mean, I look at a kid like Kyle Koretsky, and I say kid, again, I don't know what he is, 30 something, but I mean, I watched him growing up. So, I look at a kid like him, and I said this before, and I don't mean anything derogatory by it, but when I pull at a starting line, what's going through my head at times could be, who owes me money? Who do I owe money to?
Right.
Things of that nature. When these kids pull at a starting line, they got nothing but ice water going through their veins. They're up there, and they hit the tree, and and they do a good job. I mean, all of the younger kids are like that. They really are.
The ability to compartmentalize moments, and it's challenging and sad. What do? You see yellow, and then you let go, or when the light comes on, you shift, and you're not thinking so much about anything other than that. Right. You're thinking, is the latest story done? Oh my God, there's a guy. That's right. All those things. You got to come.
Oops, that light's yellow. What?
Oh no. Exactly. But hey, that's the challenges. And you know what? We got a lot of older racers, yourself included. Come on. If we're in Norwalk, you're the guy. You've been able carrying the camera, writing stories, doing all kinds of stuff, racing the car, worrying about the kids, and you still find a way to win. So don't.
God help me. I hope I can continue looking for a way to win.
Yeah, well, you don't make the Hall of Fame. So when you look back at this year and you think about some of the Lucas Oil Series categories, we had Megan Meyer win again. We had Doug Gordon, and then she steps away. She's stepping away from drag racing, got married, of course, young lady, professional. Doug Gordon, the family racing team going out there. A lot of interesting stories throughout the Lucas Oil Series. What stands out in your mind? We've talking to the champions, spoke with Brian Warner a few weeks ago, speaking of Pennsylvania guys. He was very upset when his Steelers lost their first game. I was happy, of course. But what stands out to the guys who were able to get it done in the Lucas Oil Series?
Brian Warner.
Yeah.
Brian Warner, without a doubt. And here's another thing. His brother, Byron, comes in number 2. Byron's a past champion, so now you've got, and I think I counted back. I think there's only, and I wrote it in the story. I think there's only 3 sets of brothers who have become champions altogether. But I think the Warners, and of course Megan Meyer was a good thing, backing up her thing. But I mean, Brian Warner, the Warner family, just finishing number 1 and number 2 in the world. I don't know how you beat that.
No, this sport is so tough. Like this is it's tougher than any other sport. Every sport at the highest levels is tough, but the random nature of getting beat by a thou, and 2 brothers to go out there and reach that 1 and 2.
Yep.
I think it's fantastic.
It is, and I mean, we had Justin Lamb, who I think has got 5 championships on his own. I mean, he was a contender right to the end. He was winning, I think he won 20 something rounds in a row. He needed to win 2 more rounds or something to become the world champion or something like that. But I mean, you got guys like that who it's been tough, and it's been a tough year for sportsman racers too, because we've had the instances where points races where you get points have been canceled and whatnot. So it's been a little tougher to even gain some points this year.
Yeah, definitely. Well, just to get anywhere has been tougher.
Yeah.
Just to do anything has been tougher. Compliance, and do you want to go, and should you go, and how do you get there, and how many stops are you going to have to make? Where are you going to go? What states are you going to go through? All of that was a great challenge in 2020. But as you said, on January 1st, I can certify pretty confidently this is not all going to be over on January 1st.
I think you're right. I got to concur with that one.
But by May 1st, by June 1st, by July 1st, I think we are going to be getting to the point where we're beginning to feel very back to normal. And at this time next year, when we're connecting for the holidays, I think there's a really good chance that we're going to be feeling very good about where we are with the pandemic. Who knows what the next thing is going to happen. We're in the middle of a massive solar flare right now that has destroyed all my computers, and I'm having all kinds of issues electronically. So, maybe there are worse things than the pandemic. Like 2021 is saying, hold my beer.
Oh, please, stop.
But I don't think so. I think we're going to be just fine. And I think we're getting there. The vaccines, you see the coverage, the medical professionals lined up to get vaccines. Won't it be great when everybody is whoever wants to be is vaccinated and we start seeing numbers go down? That's going to be a great feeling. I'm going to liken it to the end of World War II, right? Like when that happened, what happened? There was jubilance.
Joe, I'm not that old.
Oh,
I'm not that old.
When you were there. I thought that was you in the Times Square photo. You get my point.
I get the point. Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't know. I from your lips to God's ears, I hope that by May 1, I hope by March 1, we need to get Gainesville going. We need to get Pomona going. I mean, I just want to be over this thing. This is really blown, I think, way out of proportion. But it's here. We got to deal with it somehow. And for the most part, I think we're dealing with it well. Wear the mask, don't wear the mask. I don't care what side of the street you're on as far as that's concerned. It really doesn't matter to me. I think we just need to get our freedoms back. But again, I don't want to talk politics here. So,
well, and I'll piggyback. I'm kind of on the other side. My dad, Marine Corps veteran. I think about that. I think about World War II. Yeah. My grandfather, World War II veteran on a bomber. And I think like when the air raid siren goes off and you got an air raid that you're preparing for, everybody needs to turn out their lights. And that's it. And, the one guy that wants to read his book at that time when the air raid siren's going off, if he leaves his lights on, he can get the whole city eviscerated. And so regardless of what he wants to do, he needs to turn his light off for the good of the people at that time. And so that's the way I look at it. I understand other people look at great. And what's the quickest way to get our back to normal? That's what I think about, but there is no right answer right at the moment. And we'll see how it all goes. All right. Final thoughts on this. Okay. Normally I would ask you like, hey, where can people subscribe? But given what you have just informed us of, that the print edition is going on temporary hiatus, for people that want to follow this edition, maybe collectible. Incidentally, like, look at that. Who wouldn't want that edition? But where is the best place for people to stay up and stay connected with Drag Racing Edge magazine?
Well, as always, to stay connected to our website, and I hope that people do stay connected with us. DragRacingEdge.com. We're making changes, as I noted a couple of when we were talking earlier. So we're just going to continue to upload the same tech stories that we would, same products, same personality features that we would put in our print book. We're now going to just upload them right to our website, so they're easier to find. And again, I write my blog once a week. I've been writing it for, 2.5, 3 years, something like that. So John D at DragRacingEdge.com. Send me an email and I'll be glad to put you on the blog list. You'll get my blog every week. I am taking the next 2 weeks off.
What?
To get through that's what my wife said. I let my wife, I noted it in my blog that I'm taking the next 2 weeks off for blogs. And my wife called me and she read it and she said, who told you could take 2 weeks off?
I like her style. No, but you do something you love. And so it's not work, but it is work. And you could recharge your batteries. Like, it's healthy for you to recharge your batteries and come out on the other side with a new, fresh outlook. Me too. And so we're going to be doing our holiday party tomorrow, hopefully. And then next week, Reinhardt on Tuesday. And then I'm pulling the plug, and that's it until after New Year's. The good news is it's all best of. It's all on the website. It's all on the archive. We'll make sure people can see it. This will be part of it. And we can double back. Do you have a final thought for the WFO universe out there looking back at 2020 or looking ahead to 2021? State of drag racing, a great performance, a great driver, something you're hopeful for?
I first, without a doubt, I have to thank all of our loyal readers, our subscribers, the people who look at our website. They're just people who have just they've really helped to get us to where we are today. And of course, naturally, Lucas Oil for the support that they've given us over the years. That's my one thought. The thought for 2021, like I said, I hope we wake up on January 1st and we find out this was a dream.
Yes, exactly. And it was J.R. Ewing, by the way. You said one of the characters, the Who.
No, it was Bobby Ewing. It was Bobby Ewing. They killed him off. The actor was Patrick Duffy. They killed him off in a horrendous car crash at the end of the 8th season. Wow. We went through the whole 9th season. See, I watched this stuff. We went through the whole 9th season. They mourned his loss, and they cried and they buried him and this and that. And at the end of the 9th season, the cliffhanger was when his wife went to the shower to get in the shower. She heard someone in the shower. She opened the shower door, and here was Bobby Ewing. And everybody said, "What the hell?"
It was all a dream.
It was all a dream.
You remember Dallas? I remember my parents would watch Dallas, and I don't know if Dallas came on after what the show before Dallas was, but I remember watching the intro and seeing Dallas Cowboys Stadium, and that was bedtime. Like, it was time to go to bed, kid.
It was.
John, thank you very much. Thank you for your friendship, your support of the show, of the podcast, of me personally. It's always great to come on, bust chops on here, and have a lot of fun. DragRacingEdge.com. Brett has been great, and I just thank you all. And in the new endeavor, you're not going to get me like feeling down. I feel positive and optimistic about what you guys have got going on. It's just going to be a little different. It's going to change. It's going to morph. But your connection to print, we'll see it again. I have no doubt.
Thank you very much, Joe. Your help has been phenomenal for us. And I can't say anything, but I hope everyone has a very Merry Christmas. I hope the new year. Again, I'm still looking for that dream. I'm still thinking that January 1, we're going to wake up with a dream, but
you never know.
I just hope we all have a good, healthy, and safe year.
Exactly. John, thank you so much. Merry Christmas, happy holidays. We'll see you on the other side. Happy New Year. And yes, we're going to make it to the other side, no doubt. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Joe.
There he goes. John DiBartolomeo, Hall of Famer, Northeastern Division of the NHRA, with us here on WFO Radio. And look at that. Gary Emmons. I was just flashing a picture of you guys. What's up, Gary? How you doing? And Randy, hello. And Selena. Listen, I think a lot about this. I think a lot about my analogy about the air raid siren. I think all the time, like I'm thinking all the time about what's right and what's wrong and how to handle situations and myself. And that's one, just because of my, the background in my family. I think about, there have been a lot of times where, the greatest generation, my grandparents, they dealt with a lot of terrible stuff. Look at Ralph. Ralph, I got your email, bud. I'm going to check it out later on. We're going to dig in. Ralph ordered a face covering, and I did not send it out, apparently. That's very possible. We definitely want to make sure other people get WFO Radio face coverings, though, as we get ready for, if it is a dream, then you'll just be promoting WFO Radio, right? $10 WFO Radio face covering. Go to WFOradio.com. And in our store, you can get a whole variety of cool drag racing themed gifts, including the Don the Snake Prudhomme book. That's right. My dad is reading it, and he says it's incredible that you can hear the snake's voice. There's profanity, intimate details of stories that you've only heard of. You can click on it. It's just an Amazon store. Like, you click on it, it takes you to your Amazon cart. But I think you should definitely do it. And we got others as well. Like Kelly Wade's new Warren Johnson book is up in there. But really, you're going to go there so you get the face covering for just $10 to get some WFO stickers. Also, big thanks to samtech.edu and Marvin Rodak, rodakscoffeeandgrills.com. Put your comments in the comments section, and I will get to them as we part ways. Total Seal. Hidden Horsepower is the Facebook group, Hidden Horsepower. And it is there's 1,000 members already. It's pretty amazing. Our WFO Radio Facebook group, just barely under 1,000 members. There's 1,000 in the Hidden Horsepower group. But what are we going to be doing today? Well, Matt Hartford, Keith Jones, who is the director of technical sales and my co-host on the podcast on a regular basis, Lake Speed Jr., and I are going to do like inside the family Total Seal Christmas party kind of thing. Well, they're going to talk. It's going to be a live episode, the big live episode of Hidden Horsepower. We're going to talk rings. Look at that. That is a piston ring. And I'm going to flash these pictures. You're getting a sneak peek that I took when I was down there at Total Seal in February. Speaking of dreams, what I thought in February. This year is going to be the year. We're going to dominate this year. 2020 is going to be the greatest year of NHRA drag racing ever. That's right. I really thought that. I really believed that. And no. But again, the great stuff is always easy. Stuff like what we just went through, hard. And we made it, which is what matters. So be sure to like the group. Hidden Horsepower coming up 5 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central. Then tomorrow, Derek wanted to know what time. You are all invited to the WFO Radio Holiday Party, which is going to be a lot like a happy hour, except there's less structure. It's going to be just people coming in and coming out and seeing what's up. And if we get too many people, and we'll have to kick somebody out. Simple as that. It's going to be great. But the WFO Radio Holiday Party, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, Thursday. And we'll see who can get in on the action. And it's just fun. I see people putting their comments up in the comment section. I do want to remind you, like right now, I've got 2:46 p.m. Eastern Time. Coming up at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. So in 15 minutes on NHRA.com, NHRA's Facebook page, and all their social media, as I understand it, but at very least NHRA.com, Brian and Alan are going to be doing a turbocharger tech talk. And it's going to be, or shop talk, what they do. And it's going to be very interesting. Turbochargers, so popular all over the place. And you can't get a street car with power for the most part, a smaller engine, powerful streetcar without a turbocharger. They're going to be doing a tech talk on turbochargers. So swing on over to NHRA.com for those of you who are watching live here on WFO Radio. If you're watching after the fact, you can find that one after the fact. And let's see. Let's check out the comments. Comment section. Ralph is happy. Monica, got to get yourself a cool kids WFO face covering. Yes, exactly. Not me, meaning all the listeners out there. Rich Vreeland, how you like it, Rich? Mickey Thompson, Top Fuel Harley. The celebrity listenership of this show is just amazing. Thank you very much, Rich. I was super excited to see Rich at the PRI show last year, and he shared the photos, and I'm on the bike, and I'm like scared just sitting there, and we're on the floor of a trade show. How he does what he does, amazing. But he's rocking WFO Radio face covering. And we did an Attention in the Pits with Bob Malloy after his 6-0 run, one of the great runs of the year. Bob Malloy at the Gator Nationals, incredible run. And Bob is going to be on Attention in the Pits, so be ready for that. Any diecast, I don't know what that means. Not me. Let's see. Randy, have a great day, everyone. Great show, says Scott. Thank you, Scott. Monica enjoyed the show today while I watched the snowfall. Yeah, me too. And Johnny D's window out there. To all you folks in the Northeast, I'm teasing Johnny D, but be safe. I was watching the news and they said this is going to be the biggest snow in the last 4 years and thunder snow, and that some people are going to get a lot. And so be careful, be safe, get the stuff that you need, be ready, and don't go anywhere. You've had a lot of practice. You've had so much practice not going anywhere. You should be able to handle it nonetheless. Again, the big holiday party got some calls out for VIPs, and we'll see who is able to accommodate. But the way I look at it, even if it's not star-studded, it's going to be the WFO holiday party. And even if I'm like, Winthorpe at the Christmas party for Duke and Duke, while he's dressed like Santa, we're going to have fun. And if you get the reference, we're cool. And if you don't get the reference, well, you got to watch more movies. Simple as that. You got to watch more movies. Thanks to Johnny D. Great guy. Really appreciate him. Drag Racing Edge magazine, Brett Underwood. Thank you, Brett, for being helpful. All right, the next time you see me, it'll be on the Hidden Horsepower Facebook group. It will be in 2 hours, and we will be talking Total Seal as we do a live edition of Hidden Horsepower, the live holiday edition of Hidden Horsepower. Just moments from now, Factory Stock Podcast will be up and will be new with Aaron Stanfield, Brian Massengill. Speaking of news, you definitely, if you love Factory Stock Showdown, you're definitely going to want to listen for the news and the updates, and for Aaron, who's great. And tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, wait a second. Let's hit the brakes. Pause. Yeah, I have the editorial rights to do exactly what I just did. Yesterday, Alan Reinhart came on the show and said he would give us an address for those who would like to participate or said something out to Dominic Lagana. And the text message with the information, as you would imagine, came in seconds after we were off the air. And so that is unfortunate, but I have it now. And we'll be giving it multiple times. This coming in via text, I'm going to read it to you, and you are going to write it down. So what I'm going to do is give you a few seconds to stall, to get a pen and a piece of paper so you can write this down. And I will give the information, and we'll post it at a later date. But I wanted to get it out there since Derek Green, one of our Patreons, has asked. And the whole deal is, the best way to donate or send a card. The account name is Dominic J. Lagana. And it's the IRRV Supplemental Needs Trust. And if you're going to write out a check, you write it out to Robert Lagana. Then write the account name in the memo, Dominic J. Lagana, IRRV Supplemental Needs Trust. And you mail it to this address, Bobby Lagana Jr., 486 South Point Circle, Unit 109, Brownsburg, Indiana, 46112. I know it's tough to take an address down while you're watching a YouTube video. I'm going slow. Let me do it again. You're going to mail it to Bobby Lagana Jr., 486 South Point Circle, Unit 109, Brownsburg, Indiana, 46112. The account name is Dominic J. Lagana, IRRV Supplemental Needs Trust. And you put that in the comment section of a check if you're going to write a check for donating, if you want to send a card, if you want to include Dominic in your thoughts here at the holiday season. And we'll be giving this out more and more often. To type all that in and put it up on the screen might be a little bit complex. And there you go. Thank you, Derek, for asking that question. And, that's the deal. There's always breaking news the second we get off the air. And speaking of that, Alan and Brian coming up on NHRA's Facebook page. Talking turbochargers just seconds from now. If you are watching on demand or in the WFO radio app, subscribe, write a review. Thank you so much. The Ignition Show is amazing. Look at Randy. This is what really matters. This is the kind of stuff that really matters. Joe, hair is looking amazing today. Thank you. I'm happy it's still hanging tough, man. Still hanging. That's what I like about Johnny D. He's got a full head of hair. Hope John Force is on tomorrow. I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen. But you never know. That's why you got to watch. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Really appreciate all of you. It's Krista Baldwin. Krista, you're invited to the big holiday party. It's tomorrow. Krista's been on the show a lot this year. Why wouldn't she be invited to the big holiday party? Big thanks to everybody who supports the show, namely these folks right here. And we'll see you tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, the Unstructured WFO Radio Holiday Party.